Hi friends, welcome back to 3 Barrow Farm. LetPot have been in touch with me and sent me their Smart Seed Starter germination system, and I have already given this a whirl. I have raised some peas in here and I was really pleasantly surprised. These peas got to about this high and I got them out into my garden within 10 days of starting them in this seed raising system here. Now, I did get a few peas that had rotted, so perhaps next time I don't add as much water in the tray. I've found this system really easy to follow. It comes with a super easy manual to read and follow these steps one by one. You have your touch screen at the front here. And if I take the seed tray off, you can see all of the instructions on what each button does on the heat pad here. So it's an all-in-one system. It has a heat pad underneath and it has a light up above. And you can adjust this light as to how high you want it to be. So it goes down quite low, and then that's as high as it goes. Then you have your water tray here, and then your seed tray on top. This seed tray fits really nicely, and my other seed trays actually fit into this water tray really nicely as well. So I'm going to be able to interchange them. However, LetPot does have spare parts for your seed starter. It also has a dome lid that you place on top when you're first starting to sprout your seeds. I would take this off as soon as you start to see germination happening, because you don't want your seedlings to get leggy, and they tend to do that when the humidity is high. This system has a soil meter which you just bring gently along here and place into one of the seed raising cells so it can read what's happening in the soil. And one thing that I found super handy with this system is that you have an app on your phone as well. So you're able to switch it on or off via your phone. You can also adjust the temperature and the light on your phone as well. And you can see where the temperature has gone throughout the day. So it has a reader every hour telling you what temperature this is at. For this time of year and the veggies that I'm growing in it at the moment, because it is winter time, I don't want the tray to get too hot. So I've set mine to a minimum of 15 degrees to a maximum of 20. Now, it stayed at a pretty reasonable 18 degrees throughout the day and night because I've had this set up in my home and it's quite nice and warm in our house. So for my second testing of this, I wanted to do some lettuces and some spinach. So I've got some spinach from the seed collection. I've got Bloomsdale long-standing spinach. I love this spinach. It's been highly successful for me just sowing it directly into the garden and raising it in seed trays as well. So I'm going to make a little hole in here. Now, what I did with my peas, I didn't bury them deep enough at the start. So even though the instructions only tell you to bury them 0.5 centimetre or to 1 centimetre under the surface, I would plant things that you generally plant deeper, much deeper into the soil. Now, the instructions tell you to fill the water tray 50%, so halfway. I would do a little bit less next time when I'm doing peas again or anything like peas, because they did rot out because there was just too much water. I mean, this could also be that the tray did get a bit hot. I did note that one day it got to close to 30 degrees on the tray. So one thing that's great about the app is that you can put an alarm on and it will tell you when it gets over a certain temperature or under a certain temperature. So you just have to set those temperatures and then you can keep an eye on what's going on. Everything is from the seed collection today. I've got some all year round lettuce, which is like a butterhead lettuce. I'm trying to just get one seed in each cell. I did get a couple of doubles in the spinach. All right, I've got my handy popsicle sticks here to do some labeling. So I've got my spinach, all year lettuce in that one. I've got 2 rows here. One thing I love about this seed tray is that it's smaller cells. So I can get more into one tray than I have in my other trays that I've used in the past. We've got speckled lettuce. So I'm going to try and get 1 in each. Oops, there's 2 in that one. Speckled in this one here. And then we've got outrageous. So outrageous is a red lettuce that's really nice. And I have a few growing in my garden already. This plastic packaging that the seed collection are slowly getting rid of. It's quite annoying when it flies away. All right, I'm just going to bury my seeds, the lettuce quite shallowly, and the spinach is a little bit bigger, so it gets buried a little bit more than the lettuce does. I can already see wet parts of the soil, so the water's already wicking upwards. And what I saw with the peas when I did the peas is that the cells got wet within the first day of planting them. And the dome that got put on top, the little plastic lid, it got quite humid and there was always dew on the inside of the lid. So once I saw germination, I took the lid off, and then after a few more days I stopped heating underneath because I'm also planting it outside in wintertime and it is cold out here. I didn't want to keep the heat going for too long, so I just left it at room temperature, and those seedlings are doing really well outside. I didn't do any hardening off like I'd normally would do with spring planting. I just put them directly out into the garden to see what would happen, and they're doing perfectly fine. Now I'm going to take this inside and I'm going to plug it into its little place that I have dedicated this seed tray to going. I've got the light going from 8 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night. So a little bit longer than we have sunlight. And I don't want this to be running too much at nighttime. It doesn't use up much electricity at all, which is fantastic because we live off grid here. And wintertime can be really hard. We do have to rely on the generator to get the batteries up to 50% or above sometimes. And so it's handy to have something that I can switch off certain things and also put timers on it so that I don't have to be worrying about the power when I'm away, and I can just let this go, keep it running. The only thing I need to be present for with this is to take off that dome when I need to, and obviously eventually turn the heating off, because that can also lead to the seedlings getting a bit too leggy as well. Okay, so let's take this inside and put the dome on top, plug it in. I'm going to set the heater on and the lights on, and we will see how long these seeds take to germinate. There are air vents on the sides of this plastic covering here, and I leave the air vents open so that the air can move around, and that seemed to work just fine with my last seeds that I germinated. Well, my friends, here are the lettuces and the spinach that I sowed into my LetPot, and I let sit for quite a few weeks. I wasn't able to attend to these seedlings like I was the previous ones I've done in LetPot, so user fault here. They didn't turn out as well as I was hoping, and that's because the tray got dry and my spinaches here have been stunted with their growth. They would have put on a lot more growth and been much happier if they had that water in this seedling tray. The lettuces, however, look so much better than these spinaches. They are not as big as I would have wanted them to be, obviously because they were stunted and they got a bit dry at one stage. So I am looking forward to trying this again and being present and able to look after my seedlings. However, I'm really impressed with the lettuces and how this unit works altogether. I think it's going to be such a valuable tool for me. I've never had a heat mat to raise my seedlings, so this is going to be fantastic, particularly coming up to the summer veg that I'm going to be raising starting next month in August. I'm really, really excited. I have to actually stop myself from sowing tomatoes into this tray next. But what I'm going to do is probably do another lot of lettuces. So I'll give them a go for a few weeks. And then once we get into August, I'm going to be doing my summer veg in this tray. And I'm particularly excited to see how the eggplants, chilies, and capsicums do in this tray because they need the heat a lot more to start. Tomatoes are quite easy. I have found tomatoes to be quite easy to start off, but chilies and capsicums and sometimes eggplants can be quite difficult to get to germinate. So I'm really excited. One thing that LetPot has on the app is that you can select the particular vegetable that you are raising. I'm able to select capsicum or chili and just do a whole tray of them. So I'm really excited to do that. I will be filming another video when I start my summer veg in this tray. I'm quite impressed with the quality of this product as well. The one thing that's not as thick as I thought it would be is the dome that goes over the top. It's a little bit more of a flimsy plastic, but perhaps that's the right sort of thickness of plastic, I'm not sure. But it still works really well, and you only use it for the first little bit of raising the seedlings anyway. So I just keep it in a safe place while I'm not using it, just to make sure it doesn't break. So that would probably be the only negative that I'd say. And oh, look, the roots are coming through on these lettuces here. You can see the roots are really strong and really, really long on some of these plants. I am really excited. So yeah, you will see me again growing my summer veg in this LetPot. So thank you very much for following along on this little journey of germinating my seeds in this LetPot. Please let me know in the comments below whether you have a LetPot seed germinator or whether you have a different setup. Let me know what setup you have for raising your seedlings. Thanks again to LetPot for sending me this unit. I'm really super grateful to be able to try out using this system and having a heat mat finally for raising my seedlings. Take care, my friends. See you soon.